This movie is based on a true story. It was the year 1989 in New York. Jeanette Walls is a successful journalist who can afford to dine in expensive restaurants, but it was not always like that. Jeanette grew up wandering through different states, surrounded by nature and wildflowers. Many envy Jeanette's childhood, but they just have no idea what it was really like for her. Now she is about to marry a city guy, but her parents are still unaware. They are opposed to city life and reject any material values. David, Jeanette's fiancé, walked her to the taxi. On the way, she saw homeless people rummaging through garbage bins. They were her parents. At home, Jeanette called her sister Lori and told her what she had seen. Jeanette doesn't even know why she didn't stop. This incident made her recall the past. Jeanette's mother, Rosemary, was an artist. The family lived in poverty, with almost no food in the house. Little Jeanette was forced to eat sausages and cook it on her own. One day, there was an unfortunate accident in the kitchen that landed Jeanette in the hospital. A social worker asked why she cooked for herself. The girl said that she always cooks for herself and that her family has no permanent home. They moved from place to place. Rosemary, who is pregnant again, her husband Rex and their 2 other children came to visit Jeanette. At first glance, the social worker and the doctor understood that this was a dysfunctional family. Moreover, Rex despises anyone who earns well. Later, the couple encouraged their son Brian to fake a seizure in the hospital corridor. This was done to distract the doctors. Taking advantage of this, Rex returned to the daughter's ward and took her away. This way, they wouldn't have to pay for her expensive treatment. The family moves again. Rex once again tells the children the story of how he will build a glass castle where they will all live happily. Rosemary, being an infantile woman, also believes in this fairy tale. The parents don't even care about their children's education. None of them go to school. Rex believes that life is the best teacher. The family lives in an atmosphere of travel romance. Rex reminds the children and his wife every day that there is nothing more real than nature and freedom. Money and the pursuit of material values will never make anyone happy. The family often sleeps outdoors in tents because they can't afford even the cheapest motel. This night, Jeanette couldn't sleep. Without proper treatment, her burn would take a long time to heal. Rex does everything to distract his daughter, telling her various stories about the essence of existence and how foolish people are who get stuck in everyday routines. These memories continue to haunt adult Jeanette. Her fiancé David doesn't know much about her past because she is ashamed of it. Jeanette met her mother at the cafe. She, as well as her father, still lead a vagrant lifestyle and are not going to change anything. Jeanette is willing to help her parents with money, but Rosemary refuses. Finally, Jeanette admitted that she is going to marry a financial analyst. Of course, the mother disapproves of her choice, believing that money is pure evil. In the past, Jeanette has taken care of her little sister Maureen, who was recently born. In the middle of the night, Rex announced to the family that they needed to leave urgently because collectors were after them. The children were tired of wandering, but the father promised that this would be the last time. They moved again, this time stopping in Utah, in an old semi-abandoned house. Several months passed. Since there is not even water in the house, the family has to wash in the city's swimming pool. Rosemary suggests to her husband to go to Virginia, where his parents live. Perhaps they could help them with money. However, Rex flatly refuses. He drinks a lot and often gets into fights if someone tries to teach him about life. After another such incident, the family came to the attention of the police. Rosemary intends to take the children and leave, regardless of what her husband thinks. Rex calls it freedom, but Rosemary is tired of such a lifestyle and wants some stability. Moreover, she fears that they will lose the children. About to leave for Welch to relatives, Rosemary couldn't find the strength to leave her husband at the last moment. She couldn't handle it alone. Rex just lay on the floor in the empty house. In the end, Jeanette managed to persuade the father to go with them. He was drunk as usual, but drove anyway. In the present, Jeanette is about to tell her father about the upcoming wedding. Of course, she understands that he will be against it. Rex was genuinely happy to see his daughter. He and his wife live in another semi-abandoned house in New York, where there is neither water nor electricity. Jeanette's sisters and brother also came to visit their parents, except for Maureen, who already lives with them. They are aware of the upcoming wedding, but Jeanette still doesn't know how to tell the father about it. The sisters and brother do not share the lifestyle of their parents and want to achieve something in life. Brian, for example, is a police officer and recently made his first arrest. Rex really doesn't like David because he lacks spirit and a sense of adventure. Hearing her father speak unkindly about David, Jeanette couldn't bring herself to talk about the engagement. In the past, the family came to Welch. Rosemary believes that here they can start a new life. They stayed with Rex's parents. His brother Stanley also lives here. The whole family gathered for dinner. Rex doesn't get along with his mother, who considers him stubborn and foolish. At night, Rex, unable to sleep, drew a blueprint of their future glass castle. He promised his daughter that he would find a place and lay the foundation tomorrow. Jeanette believes her father. However, instead of a glass castle, they moved to another semi-abandoned house. The children were deeply disappointed to see this house where there was no water or electricity. Rex once again indulged in fantasies, telling the children that soon this place would turn into heaven on earth. The family began to settle in the house. Rex has no money, so he uses improvised materials and whatever can be found on the street. When the father tells tales of their future happy life here, Jeanette listens with bated breath and sincerely believes. In the middle of the night, Jeanette was awakened by her younger sister Maureen, who was hungry. But there was nothing in the fridge except margarine. Jeanette, Lori, Brian and Maureen hadn't eaten anything for 3 days. Rex, as always, was sleeping drunk. Learning that the daughters and son had eaten all the margarine, Rosemary was not pleased because she hoped they would eat it with bread when it appeared. The children were tired of this life. The father promised that everything would change, but he didn't keep his word. In the end, Rosemary had to give her stash to the husband so he could buy food. Rex went to the store. Many hours passed, but he never showed up. At night, Jeanette was awakened by a rumbling sound. Rex came home drunk. Of course, he didn't bring any food. All he could do was once again promise that everything would be fine. Jeanette asked her father to stop drinking because they didn't have money for food and to build the glass castle. Despite everything, Jeanette still believed in her father. Those words got Rex thinking. In the next few days, he plans to lock himself upstairs to endure withdrawal syndrome. It was the only way to overcome his destructive habit. But it turned out to be more difficult than Rex could imagine. He screamed day and night. When Rex asked Jeanette to bring him a drink, she tearfully said that she couldn't do that. At first, Rex tried to evoke pity, saying that he felt very bad. But when Rex realized that it was useless, he started yelling at his daughter. Crying, Jeanette ran away. After a while, Rex began to feel better. The family is preparing to lay the foundation for a new house. The first snow fell. It was Christmas Eve. Rex works and provides for the family. Life seemed to be getting better. During the Christmas dinner, everyone laughed and had fun. Each of the children received gifts, which had never happened before. Jeanette received a notebook in which she will soon write her first essay. In those moments, nothing else was needed for happiness. Looking at the stars, the father and daughter talked heart to heart. Rex said that only a fool would trade a life like theirs for the hustle and bustle of the city. In the present, Rosemary has changed her opinion about David, thinking that it would be nice if he became part of their family. But Rex does not share the wife's opinion, telling David that poor people suffer because of people like him. Of course, David disagrees, believing that each person is responsible for their own well-being. A heated argument broke out. By this point, both David and Rex were quite drunk. Rex suggested settling things like men, in arm wrestling. Despite the bride's attempts to convince him to abandon this idea, David agreed and emerged victorious. Enraged, Rex struck him. Before leaving, Jeanette told the father that David wasn't her boyfriend but her fiancé. Already at home, David told Jeanette that her family is insane. He truly wants to spend the rest of his life with Jeanette, but he doesn't want incidents like today to ever happen again. In the past, Rosemary's mother passed away, so she and her husband were going to Texas for the funeral. Rex had been sober for 2 months. The children stayed with Irma, Rex's mother. She made it clear at once that there were strict rules in the house that everyone had to follow. In their father's room, the children found his diary, where he wrote down his thoughts. Apparently, Rex had always been a dreamer, seeing the world differently from others. It was his way of escaping the harsh reality. Troubles didn't take long to arise. When Irma started behaving inappropriately towards Brian, his sisters witnessed it and stood up for him. A fight broke out between the grandmother and grandchildren. Upon learning about it, Rex immediately arrived. He was very angry and didn't want to hear the justifications from his daughters and son. The family returned home in silence. Jeanette realized that the father had started drinking again. It broke her heart. From then on, there were scandals in the house every day. Rex reverted to his old habits and stopped going to work. To avoid witnessing their parents' arguments, the children spent time outside. Meanwhile, Rex became increasingly aggressive in the street at his wife. All of this happened in front of the son and daughters. It seemed that both of their parents were crazy. They could fight, and a minute later they would confess their love to each other. The family was once again on the social bottom. One day, Jeanette asked her mother to divorce the father because he would never change. But Rosemary couldn't do it. Despite everything, she loved Rex. Soon after that, Jeanette told her brother and sisters that they didn't need the parents because they never took care of them. Jeanette didn't want to repeat their fate, so she was determined to go to school. The brother and sisters supported her. Education was their only chance to escape poverty. Jeanette started attending school and was quick to grasp everything, just like her brother and sisters. They always stuck together and were saving up. Mutual support made them stronger. Lori was the first to prepare to leave the parental home to start anew. Rex tried to stop his eldest daughter, but she ran away anyway. Then Rex demanded that his son and daughters tell him where and why Lori had gone. But they remained silent. Rex flew into a rage. Jeanette looks forward to the moment when she too can break free from here. Later she called Lori, who met a literature professor in a restaurant, and spoke about the sisters' writing talent. Jeanette was very grateful to Lori for her help. All this time, Jeanette had secretly been saving money by working as a nanny, but if the father finds out, he will do everything to thwart her. The conversation was interrupted by the sound of breaking glass. Jeanette went to check what happened. It turned out that Irma, Rex's mother, had passed away. The funeral took place. Neither Jeanette nor her sisters and brother sincerely mourned because Irma wasn't a very good person. At night, Rex got drunk at the bar. Jeanette was afraid to leave her father alone and hinted that she had read his diary. Jeanette knows that the father's childhood was difficult. Irma did many not-so-good things. Jeanette met a guy named Robbie. He has known Rex for a long time but had no idea that he had daughters. Jeanette confessed that she's saving money to move to New York. Robbie wished her good luck. Later, during a game of billiards, Robbie blabbed to Rex that Jeanette was planning to move to New York. Jeanette wanted to let her father know that she was already an adult and didn't need custody, so she took Robbie's hand and left with him. Certainly, Robbie hoped for something more, but Jeanette wasn't interested. When Robbie became too insistent, Jeanette asked him to stop and told him about her scars. It happened many years ago when she got burned while cooking in the kitchen. On the way home, Jeanette told the father that she would move to New York anyway, and no one would stop her. Jeanette didn't care how Irma treated her father because it didn't excuse him. He was supposed to take care of them, but he didn't. At home, Jeanette discovered that all her money was gone. She immediately realized that her father had taken it. In tears, Jeanette asked him why he treated them this way. Rex had nothing to say. In the present, Jeanette received a call from Maureen, who informed her that she was moving to California, so would not be able to attend the sisters' engagement party. For Jeanette, this news was an unpleasant surprise. At the party she was sad, feeling guilty. If they hadn't left Maureen with her parents, everything might have been different. An even more unpleasant surprise for Jeanette was that her parents showed up at the party. Her father was as usual drunk and joking about bankers, David's colleagues. Jeanette took her father to another room and asked him why they had come. Rex again began to tell his daughter that someone like David wasn't a match for her, and she should live freely, not merely exist. Jeanette didn't want to hear this nonsense anymore. Rosemary intervened in the conversation, asking the daughter for money to buy back her late mother's land. The price tag is almost $1 million. Now Jeanette understood that her mother had been kind to David only because of his money. In front of all the guests, Jeanette told her parents that she didn't want to see them anymore. They never cared about their children and only told them tales about the glass castle. The father constantly drank, and the mother lived in dreams of becoming a famous artist. But now Jeanette is no longer a little girl. She likes her life, and she won't let anyone ruin it. When the father tried to explain himself, she retreated to her bedroom in tears, remembering how she left the parental home a few years ago. Her younger sister and brother remained here. The father still dreams of the glass castle, perfecting his blueprint. He hoped it would make his daughter reconsider leaving. Jeanette told her father that he never intended to build the glass castle. If she had to, she was willing to walk to New York, just to get away from her parents. David and Jeanette got married. In the morning, David was getting ready for work, reminding his wife that they had a dinner in a restaurant with an important client, a furniture designer, that evening. When David left, Jeanette received a voicemail from the mother, who wanted to meet her. Jeanette had been avoiding her parents all this time. Today the mother came to her workplace and said that Rex was sick. Since that very party, he hasn't gotten out of bed, hardly eats and doesn't talk. However, Jeanette is still too angry with her father and does not want to see him. Later, she met with her brother and sister, who spoke to the doctor the day before and found out that their father had a month left to live if he didn't quit drinking. Obviously, he won't quit. Lori advised her sister to visit their father and say goodbye, but Jeanette hesitated. Later, she recalled a time when her father visited her during the college years. Jeanette was upset because scholarships weren't enough, and she might have to drop out and return home. Jeanette didn't expect the father to bring her $950, which, as it turned out, he had won in a poker game. Jeanette was deeply touched. In the present, these memories made Jeanette realize that in their family's life, there were not only bad moments but also good ones. Sometimes the father cared for her. However, David believes that Jeanette is better off without her parents. All they ever did was drag her down. During dinner with the client and his wife, when it came to Jeanette's parents, she apologized and retreated to the restroom. Jeanette doesn't know the right thing to do. On one hand, she's angry with her father, but on the other, despite everything, they are family. Gathering her courage, Jeanette returned to the table and told the whole truth about her parents. She had always been ashamed of them, but from now on, she would be honest not only with herself but also with others. Jeanette told her husband that she had to leave right away. He was understanding. Jeanette rushed to the parents' house to see her father one last time. The mother hugged her and left them alone. Rex is indeed sick. As a farewell gift, he handed his daughter an album with all her essays from 8th grade onward. All these years, Rex lived only with dreams but couldn't give his children the life they deserved. Now Rex deeply regrets it, but nothing can be changed anymore. They never built the glass castle. It will forever remain just a childhood fairy tale. Some time passed. For Thanksgiving, Jeanette arranged a festive dinner for her entire family. Now she's a freelancer, writing not gossip for magazines but doing what she loves, as she always dreamed. The sisters and brother remember their father with warmth. They miss him a lot. Now in her small apartment, Jeanette, who divorced David, feels truly happy. Next we see photographs of the real characters of this remarkable story.